you looking at a reincarnation of Floyd. It's people that was saying Canelo is better than Floyd, even though Floyd already beat him. You had fans actually saying that Tank could beat Floyd, and Tank resume was nothing near Floyd's, and Tank got in there with somebody that was on his level, and fucking lost. So you got guys like Tank and Canelo, where the boxing powers that be wanted to push them as stars. They saw that they had something that the people could latch on, and people would be interested in buying. Guys that can fill out arenas. And when the boxing powers that be see that you can fill out an arena, it's their job to get you to that arena. You feel me? It's their job to put you in position to get to that arena. That's it. Does that mean Canelo isn't great? No, Canelo is great. He's proven himself on multiple occasions. Does it mean Tank isn't great? I don't know if Tank is great or not. He hasn't proven himself, but he's very good. But a lot of the guys that you see that are, pay-per-view stars or doing pay-per-view numbers, it's not just talent. It's people that's backing them and putting them in position. And a lot of those guys, since they got so much backing, their career is carefully thought out. They're not putting there with guys who the promotion thing that's gonna beat them. One of the reasons why the Terrence Crawford and the Errol Spence fight took long to make is because Errol Spence people, Al and them, they didn't want Errol to fight Bud because they thought Errol wasn't gonna win. So unless Bud signed for a long-term deal, they didn't want Errol fighting Bud. Why is that? Unless Bud signed for a long-term deal, they didn't want Errol to fight Bud. You know why? Because deep down, they thought that Bud might beat Errol. It was a high chance that Bud was going to win. So they like, okay, if you're going to beat our fighter, then you need to come over here and become one of our fighters so we can continue to make this money. Because Errol Spence is box office. Errol Spence had a very entertaining style. And Errol Spence, he brought home the bacon. He won most of the time. So around Texas, Texas, a lot of black people with money. Texas is country. In the country, a lot, you may not know this if you don't know nothing about this down south, but a lot of black people are actually supportive of other black people, not like up north, where there's a bunch of haters. So you have black people down there with money who like to fight and who enjoy the sport of boxing. Then you also have a lot of Mexican fans that like Errol because Errol kind of fights like a Mexican. He came forward with a lot of aggression. But back to my main point, the promoters, they need to keep the asset looking good. If they sign you and they want to make all these millions with you, they can't throw you to the wolves. They can't throw you out there with somebody that they think is going to beat that ass. They can't do that. They can't throw you out there with somebody that they think is going to beat that ass. That's why boxing don't really got that same liveliness to it anymore. Boxing don't have that same spunk to it because the fans could feel that a lot of this shit seems fixed. And a lot of it is fixed. When I say fixed, I mean we already know pretty much who's going to win. There's no parity. We know that this is the A side. You want the A side to keep on making you money. So Terrence Crawford threw a monkey wrench in the plans of PBC. Really, they wanted Errol to be the one that was built up for this Canelo fight. I'm glad it wasn't Errol, though, because Errol, with his skill set, especially after that car crash, Canelo would have absolutely destroyed Errol Spence because of the weight in the car crash. And then Errol wanting to take all of this time off. Errol not being a fighter that stays focused. Errol being a fighter that drinks and stuff like that. Errol being a fighter that blows up in weight. Canelo would have destroyed Errol. If Errol somehow beats Terrence Crawford and went on to fight Canelo, because that was the plan that PBC had. That was the plan that Terrence Crawford burnt up in smoke. If that would have happened, it would have been horrible. And I'm glad it didn't because the Mexican fans wouldn't have let us live it down. They wouldn't have let us live it down, bro. Errol would have got the brakes beat off his ass. It would have been, he might have got knocked unconscious just because of the weight and the skill level. And of course, he's been damaged goods since the car crash. And the drinking, the partying, taking a long time off. But let's get back to these lightweights, man. Because I kind of got, when I went on TikTok, I kind of got sidetracked. We got Shakur. Tank, Devin, Ryan, T.O. Who's going to be the last one standing? The last of the Mohicans? Who's going to plant that flag and keep it there? Who's going to have a better career? Ryan Garcia has a high chance of having the best career, bro. I'm going to just go ahead and throw that out. Ryan will fight anybody. So when you actually willing to fight, that's like basketball. If you're willing to take the shot, you got a higher chance of making it. So Ryan shooting more shots than everybody. He already fought Tank. Already fought Devin. Shakur hasn't fought anybody on the screen.